So it's day 16, and we would be connecting with the crown today, but we don't have much time before the eclipse is happening. And I wanted to touch base with you guys about it a little bit because I know there's been a lot of weirdness surrounding it. And basically, however you look at this, right? I've been getting pulled in a lot of directions, and in the beginning of it all, I was like, let me just ignore all of this bullshit because something about it hasn't felt right from day one. Like my intuition hasn't been like, oh, this is a big thing that I gotta really like super hyper focus on, or you know give into all of this craziness that's been talked about it, because this is what happens with every big event, really, is everybody has their 2 cents. However, some of the things that I have found and seen over these last couple of weeks have come from places that are like not your normal places, like usually you'll see like a huge video that like thousands of people have seen it, they liked it, they commented on it, so now it's making the rounds, everybody else is starting to see it because it's popular. Some of the ones that really struck me that I saw only had like 2 likes and 2 comments, and it wasn't like somebody that's doing this all the time, it was somebody that was just guided to share what they felt, which is again connected to that crown chakra. It's our divine knowing, it's our wisdom that we receive, and we usually receive it in unique ways. I did a reading today with somebody, and I was talking to them about, sometimes I look at a, profile picture of a person, or I'll read their name, or just the essence of that person when I meet them speaks to me in a certain way. I get like almost a download or a knowing about them, like, oh, this is a starseed, this is the type of starseed, or this is what they're all about, like in a roundabout way, or it's like this is a soul family person. And she's like, oh yeah, this other girl I know does that. How do you do that? And I was like, there isn't one way I do it, and it's something that's evolved over time. Where back in the day, I would probably not verbalize it as much as I do now, and I definitely, you know, wouldn't know exactly why I was feeling what I was feeling or what I was like getting, but it got stronger over time as I grew and became more connected to spirit, which is what happens when we exercise our crown chakra and all of that. So I feel like you should trust yourself at this time. Don't let the distractions and all the noise and all the conspiracy theories and all of that mess with you, because at the end of the day, spirit will guide you as you should do, and they will give you the messages specific to you that you need to see. So like I said, I was ignoring all these things, right? And then I started seeing some stuff that I was like, oh, that's interesting, because not only did it have my mom's birthday in it, but it had my birthday in it, and it had something to do with The Simpsons in it, which the whole thing with The Simpsons, I just shared a video the other day where it was like 30 of the times that they predicted the future. Like crazy ass shit that it's not just a coinky dink, that's weird, okay? And the one that I had seen with my mom's birthday and my birthday was like, talking about the eclipse, or like the end times, and it was like the date of the eclipse, and talking about some sort of mathematical equation that Homer did to figure out like when the end of the world was going to be, and it was 40 days from the date of the eclipse. And it happens to be that like my mummy's birthday and my birthday are like 40 days apart, and the day that he was saying was going to be the end of the motherfucking world was my birthday, May 18th, which is the height of the lineup, the Palladian lineup. So I was like, oh, this is getting my attention, because these are synchronicities, these are significant things that I always pay attention to. Whenever they're talking about May 15th to the 20th or November 15th to the 20th, that has always got my attention. But what really like had struck me to stick around was that my mom's birthday was in it, and through that video I figured out like, oh wow, I didn't realize that was the thing, that there was 40 days between our birth, but there is. And that's not the only weird thing with all of that. Like my dad is 3'11", my mom is 4'7", so then I'm 5'18", so it's 3, 4, 5, but if you take his and hers and add them together, you get 18. So there's always been weirdness within that. So I felt like spirit was like using that little clip to kind of get my attention. And since then, I've seen some other clips from The Simpsons where it's like, they have a fake thing going up to block the sun in the form of this eclipse. And I just feel like there's something not right about it. Also, because of those little like second videos that nobody's like, this is a one-time thing, this person's like, I just feel guided to say this, guys, because the sun and the moon aren't in a place where this makes sense. Like there should be no eclipse because they're not even near each other. Like they're going to be next to each other. They're not going to be crossing over. So whatever is crossing over is not what we normally would be having happen. Okay, and I'm not a scientist, I'm not into like knowing the exact placements of everything, but I've seen that more than once going around now from sources also at this point, because at first it was a person I've never heard of, never seen of, she doesn't share stuff like that, it was just like a random, like, I just gotta share this. And then today I saw another thing from another person that I do know, and they are very much, we're both Palladian, both channels for the Palladians. The fact that he put that into his video, I was like, alright, I'm gonna acknowledge it, because that's just weird. Now, I also know that people are buying into the fear factor of like, oh my god, they're calling in the National Guard, they're taking kids out of school, the boop, right? I feel like there's like the logical, like, do reason, like, if everybody and their brother is going to certain areas to be in the path of totality, those places are going to be fucking packed, right? So yeah, you may want to stock up so that you don't have to deal with going to these crazy, oversaturated markets and stuff, but also, because people are assholes, they may target those areas as a place to hurt a big group of people that are unknowingly going to be there, and, and that's been something that's been going on a while anyways, is that there's been an increase of threats that. And again, I feel like it may not even be really that, but it could happen under the guise of that, kind of like we've seen in the past. Again, The Simpsons predicted the 911 thing. Okay, they predicted this whole fake eclipse thing, And I don't know, man. I feel like if you go back and ask the ancients, they tell you to stay inside. Like, this is a time to go within. You don't want to be out there in the chaos. Like, it's a time to just be in meditation and reflection and not, going out there and being crazy. However, one of my thoughts too as a starseed was, well, maybe it's kind of different for starseeds because we're all about the galactic stuff. Like, maybe it'll charge us up. So again, whatever you feel, you can do. I've seen some people say, don't even worry about it. You don't need glasses. You could go out there and look right at it. And other people be like, this ruined this person's eyes from looking at that. So again, there's always going to be opinions, and that's all anything really is. Anything you see that people are like, this is a fact, this is a scientific 100% fact, is actually an opinion that enough people have got behind and be like, yes, we all agree with that opinion, so let's put it in a book and call it fact. How many times have facts changed over the years? How many times have we made opinions that were totally dead wrong and hurt a lot of people because of them? So always use discernment, always go with your gut. Don't let anybody else tell you what to do on this day. But I do again feel like there's a lot of stuff going on that is not, it's not real. They're also doing a lot of shit that day, like CERN is turning on that thing, the particle accelerator, that they have not turned on in a long ass time. And a lot of people kind of equate that to like why we even have the Mandela effects, where like reality seems to have changed for a lot of us. Like things that we know for sure used to be a certain way are no longer that way. People have tried to say that, oh, it's because of CERN doing their weird ass shit. CERN has also said that they've opened up some sort of portal and that some sort of being may come through, or that there is beings, right? Which ties me into this thing that I've been seeing that I don't know if it's real or fucking like a filter or whatever, but more than one person at this point has been looking at the moon, zooming in and seeing this huge face up there, like a giant face, just there. And I'm like, what the fuck is that, right? So then it ties into the dome. And I've seen people sharing stuff from The Simpsons with the dome. And they're like, The Simpsons ain't ever lied yet. So it's like showing like a dome over the earth. And this, again, so this, I don't speak to you unless I get like 3 times. So these are things that I've seen like 3 times for me to even be like, yep, I've seen this, and it's weird because spirit usually shows me things multiple times if it's something I need to give my attention to. Not necessarily in a fear way, not necessarily in a, I believe that I'm taking that on 100, just in a way of being aware, my divine knowing, and having like these pieces of the puzzle, which I feel is what our synchronicity is, and it's what our life is here in this matrix. Is like you've got a big puzzle and you got a bunch of pieces, but not like a traditional puzzle where you just put it together and it's done. How you decide to put those pieces is going to determine what picture you get. So if you get a bunch of fearful pieces, you stick them all together in a fearful way, you're going to get outcomes that are not fun. But if you get the pieces and you kind of piece them together and realize that there is logical explanations for things, there is ways of turning or shifting things to fit in a different way so that it's not so detrimental. Some of the other stuff that's been coming up into my mind are things that have come back from 2011, 1010, when I first saw stuff about like 3 days of darkness. And it was a video I watched about like the photon belt and how as we go through the photon belt, which is like a space in the universe, it's a little bit different, accelerates stuff, makes sense because people are kind of saying the reasons why the sun and the moon wouldn't be aligned right now is that we've accelerated and things are moving quicker, so it doesn't make like they're no longer aligned to how they used to be. So maybe they're coming up with a fake thing to still do this thing. Also, there's a comet called the Devil or something that's coming by at this point that hasn't been around since a long time ago. So he's mixing up in there. And NASA is shooting a bunch of fucking rockets into the shadow of the moon for research purposes. But they called that like the dragon god or the dragon titan or something. Something basically that means God. And it's like, alright, we're doing a lot. We're doing a lot. And now, New York and all these places on the East Coast are having fucking earthquakes. And another thing that I saw recently that I was like, huh, because I heard about it a while ago, the cicadas. These cicadas, right, they hibernate for like years. Like, are those locusts up in my brain? And I swear to God, not even like a few minutes later, I see, oh yeah, those are locusts. It was in the comment section of the video. About it again, that they're going to be released very soon. Like, there's like billions of them that have been in hiding for years, because I guess what they do is they have like a brood or something, and like every like so many years, they all come out together, and then they go back for like so many years. And I'm like, are those locusts? They are locusts. So if we're looking into like the Bible stuff of like and again, I never read the Bible. I never went to church. I don't even know why I have this understanding or knowing inside of me that locust equals the end of time. You know what I mean? It's weird. It's just like up in there. And that kind of ties in with that whole, we got 40 days to repent before the end of the earth, or the end times. Which even if it were, okay, even if it were, that was something else that was funny to me. Because when I saw that birthday thing, I was like, I'm going to be doing the 21-day thing, and then I'm actually going to be teaching somebody Reiki 1. It's going to be on the 20th now. We're going to get together for Reiki 1. So I'll be doing like another 21-day thing from there. So technically, I've done my like 40 days of repenting and getting right with spirit by the time my birthday hits, which is the 18th, which, you know, right before the 19th, which supposedly is 40 days from this eclipse, which would be like, hey, you got 40 days to repent. This thing is also going over some cities called like Nineveh. Then there's one of those the Book of Jonah, right? And there's a whale constellation up there. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of weird ass stuff. There's a lot of Bible prophecies that are like being shown, but that's been happening for a long ass time. And again, I don't feel like you or I have anything to fear in all this 1313. as long as you're not a jerk, as long as you're not intentionally being a bad person and doing evil things. You know what I mean? You know, like what are the things? Like I always feel like there's a lot of fear in the Bible, but that's also because man wrote the Bible. But the man based it off of like something. Okay, when we think of Jesus and all that, it's just another rendition of what was written before from the Sumerians and the ancient Egyptians. It's the same story being told many, many times. So it's been interpreted many, many times. It's been tainted many, many times, just like everything here has been. And I really don't feel like a lot of what's in there is real, authentic, or even good. I feel like almost a lot of people get sucked into it in a toxic way where they're actually doing the opposite of what is even said in it. Like, thou shalt not judge, thou shalt not do this, thou shalt love thy neighbor. Yesterday, there's a evil Bridget that lives over there. I'm the good Bridget that lives over here, and I have a neighbor right between us. She got arrested and went to jail because she was trying to attack this elderly lady over here and then tried to attack the cops. But like that type of shit, love thy neighbor, right? She ain't loving her neighbor. She ain't doing very nice. But she got eclipsed out of here, and that's another thing. I feel like what is in the dark will come to light. What is wrong will be shown. We will see the right. We will see our way through this. I feel like there is a potential that we could lose power or have something like, like a false attack or something like that, which could bring about 3 days of darkness. Not in the sense that the sun just disappears and we're, but in the sense that like maybe you have 3 days or your lights go out or something. And I don't trust. There's just something off. And like I said, in The Simpsons, and I feel like the stuff that was put into The Simpsons was done so that anybody who would be like, "The Simpsons said so," would be looked at as a complete lunatic because it's The Simpsons. It's stupid. It's silly. Like, it's low class. You know? Know what I mean? So of course, like he's had exact freaking times where he put out all these mathematical equations that were actually proven to be correct later on. Like there was a time there that I was like trying to keep a synchronicity journal where I was like, let's write down all this random weird shit because it ends up all interconnecting and there's messages in there. You know, when you're seeing a tons of like the same animal showing up, or you're seeing signs with like your birthday or your last name, or just something that sticks out to you and it keeps happening, and it's like, no, this ties to this. I feel like this world is more so of like putting together the little puzzle pieces along the way, but you are ultimately the creator of your puzzle, 1111. So whatever puzzle pieces you put into that puzzle and you fit in there are what you're creating. And if you come from a place of fear and doubt and scared and oh no, you're going to create a scary puzzle. You're not going to want to be looking at it. You probably will just rip that up and start over. And let's see if we can fit them together in a different way so it's not so scary and negative. But again, just based off of what I've seen, my own personal, like this is how I feel. Right now in this moment, I feel like I'm going to stay inside. I don't really want to be out there. I'm definitely not going to travel in any area that I know massive amounts of people are going to be at. I would recommend, just like doing what you feel you should do, but do it in a way that keeps you safe. Don't be silly. Deep in my soul, I feel like this isn't what we think it is. And when you look into the Bible scriptures and all of that, there's a lot of weird things. Like at the end, you won't know that I'm coming. There will be no signs. And so a lot of people will be like, it'd be weird for them to have the end of the world on this day because they say there's no signs, right? But like if you least expect something happens. So there's that in there too. It's weird. I don't think it's the end of the world, honestly. I don't. But I think that they're going to do something, or well, they are doing many things that could look a certain way or portray a certain way. Another thing that's been popping up for me that hasn't come up for a long time since like the very beginning of my awakening is the 3 days of darkness stuff that I learned about way back then when I was learning about the photon belt and all of that and 3 days of darkness. It stuck out to me, and this is way back in 2011, man. Like this is a long time ago that I received this information, and I actually started hearing about it again recently, and I had told my dad not too long ago, I'm like, there's probably going to be 3 days of darkness when something happens, which doesn't necessarily mean the whole world is going to be dark. It could just be like the power goes out. So if the power goes out, don't be like, oh my god, it's the end of the world, we're never getting it back. They blew everything up. Because if you think that and believe that, you will put yourself into that timeline, and things will probably take a lot longer for you. Just know that at most it's 3 days. And things are accelerating at this time. Things are speeding up. Who knows at this point for sure? But in my reality, I just feel like there's something here that is a false thing that is trying to distract a lot of us, and it could even just be like another like 911 attempt there, where like, oh, we these people did bad things, now we got to do bad things to these people. So don't buy into that either. And don't all of the things that are happening, I feel like a lot of it is manipulation and fear factor tactics, because those who create these scenarios and put them out there know that if enough of the collective is focused on those things start to manifest on their own. And it's, look at how COVID went down, everybody started freaking out and things got really bad for a lot of people. We lost a lot of people, and it just tore us apart as humanity, people fighting over the stupidest shit. That is the whole point of a lot of these things. So don't let yourself get sucked up into the darkness. Let's just see what happens. But if you're being guided to go outside, go outside. If you're being guided to not go outside, don't go outside. I just feel like at this moment right now, I'm going to lay low. I've been feeling really tired, and like, there's been high chaos energy. A lot of people say don't use this energy to manifest and all that because it's chaos energy. So you may manifest more chaos in your life rather than what you intended to do. And when it comes to like the physical crap of like, oh, you're going to burn your eyes out, there's people out there who looked at it and they never had a problem. But again, if what we're looking at isn't what they're telling us, then how do we know there isn't going to be a problem? And how do we know you're not going to have that specific problem based on what you believe and think and all of that? Okay? There's also rumors going around, which it came out of my mouth without me thinking about it at one point. I was like, it's probably Nibiru. And a lot of the stuff that's been happening is making sense for Nibiru. If you don't know what Nibiru is, it's the 12th planet. Zechariah Stitchin did a whole series about it. There's a lot of people who've talked about the 12th planet. There's a book called The 12th Planet. There's wrong information and right information about it, but it's on an elliptical orbit and it goes differently than the rest of the solar system. So the rest of our solar system's over here and there's like boop, 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 spinning around. We can see them all the time. They're right here. But this other one goes way out in the other way and it doesn't come back so often. It's like every so 100,000 years. That kind of aligns with like the end of the end of time calendar, like that 3,600 thing, or 36,000, whatever it is. The number of like, oh, like the minds are like, oh, end times. And because it's so big, it has the power to fuck things up, like switch the poles, which has been happening. I believe that whatever goes, like that thing in the center of the earth, that if it's there or not, who knows? Because I also believe that there's a lot inside the earth that we don't know about. There's oceans in the earth. There's a whole cavern system under there. There's tunnels under there. There's ancient cities under there. But at the core, there's supposedly this thing that has always been spinning in one direction. Now, spinning in the other direction. I feel like that already happened. I believe that I've heard confirmed from science itself that it slowed down and then. Okay, and so Nibiru has the power to do those things. Nibiru has the power to speed things up because of the magnetic, you know what I mean? Think about like all the stuff that's out there that's doing its thing and it's going around, and when a big ass motherfucking thing comes in, it's like pulls it and messes with it. So you start to see some weird shit, like earthquakes and something passing the sun. Also, I've been seeing people are seeing face up by the moon, and it was so weird because we had the full moon, right? And then I saw a video where it was like somebody was zooming into the moon and they could see a huge face up there. And I've seen more than one person with this thing, right? Could be a filter, could be fake, whatever. But it caught my attention. I was like, let me look at the moon. Let me see if I can. But the moon was nowhere to be seen, and it should have been. And I'm not the only one that has said that recently. People have been reporting that the moon is missing. Where'd the moon go? You know what I mean? Like, the moon was here last night at this time. Why the fuck isn't it here tonight? It's not like it just goes from full to fucking nothing instantly. You know? So, weird. There's been a lot of weird things. Lots of weird things. And I feel like this reality is just weird in itself. So again, try to stay calm, stay connected, listen to your divine knowing, don't feed into the fear agendas, pay attention to your inner voice, and don't give into the crazy chaos that's going on around you. And, I would focus on positive things in that moment that it's happening. Go into meditation and think of positive things rather than fearful things, or all these other things that are kind of circulating around of like, what if this happens? What if this happens? Let's just create, there's going to be good, easy, awesome sauce time, and nothing bad is going to happen, okay? At least for yourself. But it will kill you if you believe it's going to. If you believe this is the end. And if you go to the fear of, oh my god, I'm gonna be dead. Like, there's nothing to fear within that anyways. Because when you leave here, like, I'm like, dude, let's go. There's no taxes, there's no rent, there's no fucking weird shit. You don't need any of this weird stuff. Eating, breathing, sleeping. There's none of that. It's much better. They just got a beep in my ear. The thing's dying. But anyways, there's nothing to fear. Except fear itself. It's what came into my head. And you are the creator of your reality. If you feed into all the fear-mongering, it's going to be bad. Do I believe that something is happening? Yes. Do I believe that it's legit? No. Do I believe that you should be in fear? No. Do I think that you should go out there and stare at it? I don't know, because I feel like there's almost this thing inside of me that's like, that's what they want you to do, so I'm always like, I'm not going to do it, because there's weirdness around it. Like, there's just something not right about this one. I don't think it's the end of the time, and even if it is, it'll be the beginning of something better, but use your own discernment. Trust your inner knowing. Pay attention to the signs that are repetitively showing up for you, and go into those, like, little rabbit holes that pop up that you feel guided to, and mark them down. Keep a synchronicity journal. Put your pieces of the puzzle together in the way that makes sense for you, and don't let anybody else tell you what to do or influence you in a negative way. Okay, so hopefully that will serve somebody. If you have any questions about anything I said, please let me know, because this is my second attempt to record this, so I may have missed something or said it in a confusing way. Hopefully I got it through to you in a clear, direct way, but I know there's a lot of stuff that I touched on in there. If you want me to dive deeper into any of that, let me know, because I can. And maybe I'll do a live during, because I'm going to be inside for this eclipse, so maybe I'll do a live instead of, like, sitting out there being a weirdo. I'll keep you all distracted and entertained. Namaste.